Kench is banned.
So maybe they were leaving something open.
So even though SKT haven't found huge success with the Caitlyn, that is the power pick, especially in week 4 of the LCK. Caitlyn has been so frequently banned in every game today.
Yeah.
Will be taken at the first pick. So they'll take their choice of the junglers here, ROX Tigers, which will be the Elise, one of the comforts for Mighty Bear, even when he was in Europe. No two power picks for Tigers because Caitlyn was denied. They were very much hoping for an Elise first pick and then Caitlyn and a jungler choice on the side of the Tigers.
I mean, given its ban, you know, how much it's been banned lately, what do we expect Songyun to be taking into the Caitlyn?
A couple of different schools of thought. Xayah is a very good choice and was targeted, I believe, at some point in Game 1, so very much could be seeing it in this game. It was banned in the second round as ROX Tigers took a long time to pick their AD carry in Game 1. So I think Xayah, given what he's been playing, is a possibility, and Kog'Maw is what he's mousing over. Interesting to see them return to it. And okay, last second they switch over to Varus, so much more standard wave clear war here now with the Varus.
That'd be a very painful lane for the Kog'Maw to get through.
Hard to recreate the tanky front line when Galio and Zac are both banned.
Yeah. Well, Varus much safer. Just sit back. And SKT maybe just rushing their way towards this bot lane duo. The Lulu was banned away by the ROX Tigers there in Game 1. Second round of bans, and they'll just go ahead and take it. Outside chance that it's for Faker, but now that the Rise hovers there, I'll say never mind.
Been precious little Lulu players in the LCK this season after the nerfs and the prevalence of Doran Shield. We're still at full strength Doran Shield in patch 7.11. The Rise, an old favorite, standby for Faker, but it's been overlooked by everyone, so wasn't realistically expecting it to be drafted. Instead, the blind pick mid laner is the most popular one recently. That has been the Taliyah. Good win rate for Faker on that particular pick. ROX can just answer with Karma, both as a mid lane choice and a potential flex for Key, so that's a nice red side Karma available for ROX Tigers.
Been really taking their time with these drafts, but ooh, they'll actually maybe play around with this Lucian. They're gonna lock it in, I believe. There we go. All right, Lucian for Mickey in the mid lane, as we expect. Outside chance that it's the top lane.
I don't know if Untara is going to be drafting the Kennen in this game, and that's been the only matchup that Lucian top has got any serious play. So Lucian versus Taliyah. Mickey actually going for a laning focus pick instead of just focusing on something like the Orianna that has been his staple so far this season. A series with no Orianna from Mickey used to be the norm, but has been very rare in the LCK Summer 2017 season. Now, because SKT didn't take Lee Sin in the first round, there will be the ban on Blank's Lee Sin as he tries to close in on that 17-0 number. Looking for top lane and jungle are SKT in the next round of the draft.
Karma off the board. Saw that flash there from the ROX Tigers, so they get rid of that one. And the Gragas as well has been eliminated. And Key, a very big piloter of that Bard, will not be able to get his hands on it this time around.
Kha'Zix's the only champion else that Blank has played this season. Maybe he'll show us how to make the Rek'Sai work. Okay, that's going to be Key, just locking in the Blitzcrank.
All right. 3
good hook targets already on the side of SKT, so while it's surprisingly early, they want to leave last pick to give Linderong a good laning matchup. They want to get Fiored by Untara or something like that. Could still be a blind pick Fiora, but less likely as Kha'Zix again, most likely jungle choice here.
Yeah, makes sense.
What would cement the pick comp? This is looking like a pick comp. Some form of CC is encouraged, and if you're blind picking a top laner, Renekton is almost never a bad time.
Might just see it come through. Shen would be good for protection alongside the Lulu, but want something with a bit more CC, a bit more reliable CC. This is with a point and click of the W. A lot better than that Shadow Dash, so they will go ahead and go for the Renekton.
So it is very much a siege comp for ROX Tigers with a Blitzcrank for engage, and we spoke about Fiora and jumping that in. The Kled is available and can get to a good spot against Renekton. Now can also be pressured to high hell in the early game, but Linderong is 2-0 on the Kled this season. and they're trying to have both a 4-1 and some pretty strong siege with the double AD on the side of the ROX Tigers, but they are very short of magic damage in this team. Only really the Elise being able to pump out any relevant magic damage. So while they're not on a timer, itemization for Antara especially is super clean. And there's multiple squishies, so a seismic shove onto basically all 5 members of the ROX Tigers probably represents instant death.
And pretty much the hook on anybody other than maybe the Renekton after some items come through also represents just the same. So high pressure situations for both of these squads and a lot of confidence from Key to go ahead and bring out that blitz.
I mean, if ROX Tigers can get a similar lead that they got in Game 1, ward up the enemy jungle, cutting through the enemy jungle with double AD and a support blitzcrank will cause SKT to have to move so defensively around turrets that you can definitely get a lot of standing gold making the fast moves. But SKT, they have Taliyah, Renekton as their solo lanes, Caitlyn in the bot lane. While it's not necessarily going to be cut and dry 3 pushing lanes, they are very much on the path to that. Our SK Telecom T1, and that may mean the ROX Tigers, barring some heroics from Mighty Bear's Elise, might be in for Painville this time.
Oh, well, it turned into Painville by the end of Game 1. Let's see if they can start things off as well and then transition that into a win as we load in for Game 2. Seems like the ROX Tigers side of the audience has been populated now, not just the one person cheering for the squad. So, already a better start, and take a look at that.
300 games in the LCK for Bang. Started his career on Najin, then moved over to SKT T1S, and then, of course, most famously on the recombined SKT at the start of 2015. One of the true superstars of this league. Hit 1,000 kills, now has 300 games.
Good stuff. Bang on top of the world, and maybe looking for another world skin to go after his latest that he's just acquired for himself.
But maybe not for Caitlyn, because he loves that pink chrome.
That's true. Unless he makes them make a pink SKT.
Nice skin accessorization with the Dragon Tamer Lulu.
It's a good one. Though I prefer the Dragon Tamer bot lane with the Tristana, but sadly we're not at that point in the meta.
Nope, and Uzi's not allowed to play anymore, so no Uzi playing Tristana.
Feels bad.
One of the most associated with that particular pick. Heard Voidboy talking about his belief that Tristana mid can be a thing again, and that was a blast from the past for most Curse or Liquid fans.
I forgot that was a thing.
It was a Voidboy thing.
Yeah. It was interesting times.
He's trying to contest the Raptor start here.
Faker's here to back him up, get sure that Blank's fine, and well, go ahead and have that aggressive leash onto the red buff by Wolf and Bang.
SKT have reliably given super hard leashes, especially on the blue side. Even in Peanut's loss in their recent series, it's a beautiful leash. That was Galio helping with the Raptor start, but still, I'll have to give their jungler a bit of help early, and then Blank certainly has done the rest. The Blitzcrank has been kind of the big fork in the road here that SKT will have to contend with.
I've seen a lot of people try to bring this one out, and it has had mixed results.
I mean, sometimes we've seen it picked into like 3 tanks, and you wonder why, but in this game, could be a possibility. Level 2
He's
ping.
got the level 2, but all right, he'll just go ahead and miss the first hook. 100% miss rate.
You miss 100% of the hooks, you don't send out Achilles.
This is true. But we'll see if Key can just miss 100% of all of them.
You know, that's probably pretty unlikely. Mickey's taking a really bad trade here with Faker.
Yeah. Went for this for the counter, and Faker just showing him what for.
And for the alpha back as well.
Just recalling in his face. Well, so far, lane's not going well in either of the solo spots here.
And they kind of need the Lucian to be the one doing work early, because we know how Renekton will do against Kled early. It's very one-way traffic. And even invade, but he might face check Mighty Bear.
Yeah, the cocoon comes through. Mighty Bear still have quite a bit of damage. Trades back with the stun. Goes in onto him. Mighty Bear maybe in a bad spot. Doesn't want to dice over the wall. Now we'll be walking back in. Linderong hovering nearby, but instead Blank's going to jump forward, knocks him off the scroll, has the red buff to slow him up. Can't quite finish off the kill, but that's going to be both flashes gone. Now, keep pushing forward. The exhaust comes down in onto Songyun. Blank, kind of half HP, just firing away, trying to cool out this trade.
Ignite still available for Key, but exhaust used by Wolf in the top lane. Blank was really just escorting Renekton back into lane. He was going to be forced to take the longest path out.
It started looking really good, just like that trade there. It's Key. Takes that double glitter lance. TP back in here for Linderong. Mighty Bear going to look for a sneaky gank, but there's a ward in that brush, so there goes that one.
I don't know, top lane brush wards has been much higher this season than in previous seasons.
Yeah.
A lot of teams will just park a control ward and as advanced a brush as possible to get early information about jungle pathing.
Look at the drag out, but can't get Antara into a spot where the Cocoon could come through to try to set up for that kill, so Mighty Bear just loses a little bit of time, but goes back with the recall. Gets that first purchase in.
Antara hasn't recalled yet. Linderong with double laning items. Doran's Blade and Doran's Shield. Have never hit the proverbial 7 Doran Shield game that I've been hoping for. And there will be a lower Doran Shield preference in next week's games when we move to 7-12. Every other region, including the LPL, already on 7-12, so looks like we're playing in the past this week. But the Telecom War on the first day of 7-12. Feels good, man.
But it's not at OGN, so it feels bad, man. But it's okay. We'll have the next one before the end of the season.
Happily, they're not in the same week this time, so spread them out, have a couple of patches change.
No more back-to-back.
Yeah. KT definitely had the change in an arrest in momentum after those two. Thankfully, as you say, not happening this season. Mickey's walking up very early, shadowed by Blank, though.
Yeah, has been spotted, so he will go ahead and peel back. Just going to go ahead, jump over the wall.
Level 5, actually same level as Blank. Just pulls away.
Finally see that recall come through here for Antara. Does have the Tiamat completed.
First trade going the way of Faker has kind of put a dampener on this lane for Mickey. First buy is a Cull to join the Doran Shield. Does mean that he's going to be a little bit less strong at clearing those waves early. First roam opportunity there for Faker, but will not be investing the Weaver's Wall just yet.
He's still cutting his way up here. They will toss out the wall. Linderong going to be cut off. Still no flash available, and they'll just go in. They finish him off. Kill going over to Faker. First blood, SKT.
Yeah, Mighty Bear was too far behind. He was trying to stay out of vision, but two already walking up and sighting a Faker leaving lane. Need to be a bit more assertive if he was going to be realistic about contesting. And because Linderong already teleported, that's going to be first brick over to SKT.
Yeah, we'll be able to finish it off even with the limited minions there. 3 members whittle away at it, so first brick to SK Telecom. Fast-tracking this game very much compared to game number 1. And we'll go ahead and stretch out to a 1.5 thousand gold lead at just before 7 minutes.
And the information phone needs to be better there. SKT was super priced into going for that turret dive because they knew Linderong didn't have teleport, which means that Mighty Bear has to show, has to dissuade, because now they pay the ultimate price of losing both and a massive amount of gold. Invested into SKT already 7 minutes into the game. So rarely do we see turrets fall that early.
Yeah, very bizarre.
Double control ward, Talia can leave first, and also just Renekton's pushing power means a lot of headaches for ROX Tigers on the top side.
Oh, Blank just leaps his way into the Cocoon, but Faker's here to back him up. Mighty Bear is able to skitter his way out to safety. Blank coming around the side, finds that control ward, takes a lot of damage from Mickey. Hits him with the rotation, works him down to about half. Finishes this one off, but Mickey doesn't want to go too much further forward. We'll just go ahead and throw down that ward and keep himself safe.
SKT want to transition their ward line to the bot side because Infernal Drake means that playing around bot side is damn comfortable if you can make it happen.
Yep. So we saw, Mighty Bear, a couple steals come through there in game 1. If he can replicate that in game 2, get that Infernal Drake away from SKT, it'd be a pretty significant win.
They need to be a true steal at this point, given that ROX Tigers have been able to wave clear just fine and have the Blitzcrank to leave lane. Red buff spawns and Tara's on it. We'll be able to steal it away. No control for ROX Tigers in the top lane, mirroring that of Ever8's struggles in the top lane of Game 2 of Series 1.
Second, I thought maybe Blank would take that away for a reset, but does give it over to Untara. Just to help make Linderong's life in that top lane even more of a living hell.
Oh, and people are going to be triggered. Look at this item build. Achilles got that sick QSS rush.
Oh boy, all right.
So you might ask why. Why QSS here? It's because you're winning so hard in top lane with so much control, and mid lane is going to be, the Taliyah is going to be just fine, that the only way SKT cannot just have one-way pressure is if Elise controls bot side of the map and they just gank her relentlessly. Idea here is that you can just have a bit of AD on the Caitlyn, wave clear from range, your auto attack and the Piltover Peacemaker, and you have QSS to stop yourself dying and actually having a turret go the way of the ROX Tigers. So while it looks comical, it's smart given the context of the game, because all Caitlyn needs to do is not die on wave clear.
See, suffering a bit there as far as the CS is concerned, but otherwise holding up rather well and just makes it that much safer. Meantime, Faker's still very much winning out on these exchanges, but Mickey at least has a Vamp Scepter to try to keep himself topped up. He just keeps wanting to cheat forward, try to go for that hook, but just doesn't have that much of a window.
Bang's just happy to get the Warlords procs. Wave clear, wave clear, wave clear. What Songyun and Key can do with the information, the moment you see QSS, you know that, hey, let's just invade bot side. The combat stats are not there for the Caitlyn. Just a glorified wave clear bot, does nothing else. So controlling the red side, controlling the Infernal Drake is really what ROX Tigers are being offered on a silver platter this game. Easier said than done. It's still Faker being able to roam from the mid lane with the global.
Oh, hello. Mighty Bear. Blank comes over the wall looking for Mighty Bear. Weaver's Wall being rode in. Faker will arrive, and Mighty Bear should go down. Glitterland slows them up. They try to hand it over to Faker, but just have to be a bit more cautious, make sure he doesn't make it out somehow. So Blank takes the kill. 2 on the board now, and bang. Trading up here onto Songyun. That's going to be the Chain of Corruption coming through. Locks him up. Faker going low. Will live with a slither of HP.
SKT just bring in the reinforcements, take down 2 members of the ROX Tigers in the only area where they're strong, and no, they're not really strong anywhere, Achilles.
Nope. Not even headstrong. Keep pushing forward, just trying to harass the Caitlyn, gets the hook in, but that's not turret range. So.
And Bang just returns to auto attack.
Doop, doop, doop. Just a couple in the back of the robot. Not going to be hurting him too much yet, but with that kill coming through onto Songyun and now an Infernal Drake, the damage is going to be pouring forth for SK Telecom, and Blank in particular should have a very nice next back.
Tara picks up a minion wave in the top lane. Troll wards move to the bot side. There goes the hook missing.
I think he's landed 1 so far.
1 on screen.
1 on screen. And it was point blank.
What to say, Achilles? This is eerily reminiscent of some of the other games we have seen recently.
I would say don't draft Blitzcrank.
The team that he was against, it's actually a pretty good Blitzcrank game, all things considered. But I kind of take your point, and the best case scenario, obviously, is winning. But given how much you sacrifice in the 2v2, and the 2v2, you're going to put the nameplates on about, wait, the 2v2 is Bang and Wolf, then perhaps there are better options. Bang continues to be only invested in pushing lanes, going Berserker 3 second. Also more movement speed to sidestep the hooks.
No more power yet. Just wants to stay safe, as you say. In the meantime, Blank and Untara, who just have the entire run of this top side of the map, will be starting up that Rift Herald.
Lane
spot the ward, but Mighty Bear is operating on that lower half of the river, so something tells me that they're quite all right.
Lane ward from both sides in the mid lane. Means they do know that Mighty Bear is coming for the contest. SKT just want to power it down.
Should be able to do so. Linderong, though, could pinch in. It goes low. They'll be finished off in time, but can they get the buff? And Tara pushing forward to stop Mighty Bear. Gets the stun off. Faker pushing forward, and Mighty Bear almost goes down. He's got just a second left on that Weaver's Wall, really, before it's available, so couldn't ride it in for the kill.
Surprising amount of respect.
Yeah, just came up now.
Surprising amount of respect, though, Achilles, for Untara to pull back when he had Flash up, Dominus up, everything up, and they knew Mighty Bear's Flash was down. So that's the sort top laner SKT usually breeds. Why Huni is a counterpoint to any top laner, not Marin. on the side of SKT's Antara.
Oh, Mighty Bear solo, lands a cocoon, and Blank's out of mana. Be letting him walk away with his life, but that was yet again another close one for Mighty Bear.
That was also blank. I said Antara. Whoops. Faker here to join, though.
They're one and the same
Speaking
at this
of
point.
Antara.
Then they're all going to be jumped on. Blank will go down as Mickey arrives, throws the culling down, but it's straight into the face of a very angry Crocodile. And he is yet again on the hunt. Flashes over the wall. Faker following in. He's low on mana. Mighty Bear arriving. Cocoon not going to connect, and Mickey makes it over the slice and dice. Takes Antara through, but can he get the hit? One more will do it. There we go. Takes him down. Overall, the 2-for-1.
Unsure if the turnaround for auto attack twice was worth it.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Maybe he would have just inevitably been chased down, given that. But they both had boots too, so hard one to work out there. Regardless, Mickey goes down as well.
Yeah, it seemed like that was a poor idea, but you never know. Could have very well died all the same.
I mean, he was clearly just putting in auto attacks, not for the red buff slow, but to actually get the Relentless Pursue up again, but wasn't able to get out there. Antara with red buff just rocks up in the mid lane. He's going to take that turret as well. SKT ran the top side. Now they super run both the top side and the mid lane as well. Huge vision advantage. They've been able to move the vision, and the difference between SKT and a lot of teams this week is they were fighting around the top side, put 2 control wards there. Nothing ROX Tigers could do there. They saw the Inferno Drake spawn. Suddenly they moved to those 2 control wards to the bot side, took advantages there. They move with their vision line. They create vision where they want to attack the ROX Tigers. And that's just wherever they want. And they've got even globals, too, to throw in.
Well, it's going to be the top lane where they want to attack this time. Seismic Shove, not going to connect.
Of course, during the charge,
over to the charge,
he is able to be untargetable. And Antara didn't have flash to flash into it.
So, but they still get the flash down. Take that one away just for the weakest wall investment.
Speaking of investment, you know, obviously we dwelled on the QSS first from Caitlyn. Zonia is the first buy from Faker, very, very defensive as well.
Wow, I'm shocked.
But the playstyle hasn't necessarily need to reflect the safety. And sure, most of the 3,000 gold is in defensive itemization. And most of the gold he's spending on the Zonias is for the stasis. It's Mighty Bear thinks he's facing
the cocoon, but yeah, he goes low. Like, does not quite have that flash.
Almost curved the bullet around the Blitzcrank there.
What's that movie, Wanted? Or the comic, graphic novel?
The Angelina Jolie movie? Pretty sure she was in the movie.
Maybe she was. I know Morgan Freeman was.
Yes. I always forget the name of that movie, but curved bullets. I think it wasn't the other movie Salt? Oh, that's also a movie that was similar.
Yeah, she was like a secret agent or something in that one.
I get those two confused.
I think you're right. I think she was in Wanted. I haven't seen it since it came out, and it wasn't very good, so I didn't really remember it.
Well, SKT, command the Rift Herald as you do your due diligences on IMDb.
Yep, she was in it.
There you go. Got a memory for the Angelina Jolie movies I didn't watch. I watched Tomb Raider and I stopped.
Her best movie was Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's the best movie I've ever seen.
I mean, I'm a video game fan, and I was the right age at the time. I was like, okay, I'll go watch this, and then I was like, okay, no, maybe
yeah.
mind.
I'm a young child, and I can identify that this movie is awful. Cocoon comes through. Wolf going to get locked down. He's just going to burst out as he finishes them off with the hook, but Mighty Bear will fall as Faker arrives. The Seismic Shove takes him down. Blank leaping in, trying to finish off Songyun. Won't be able to get it, but they should be able to get that tier 2 turret. Faker rides in, looking for the kill, but might have bitten off more than he can chew. Has the Zonias. Trying to buy some time, but it's really just a waiting game. He'll die in the end as Mickey just fires one final shot off, but inner turret goes down. SKT, what was it, 2 for 1 plus the turret? Or no, 1 for 2? Yeah, 1 for 2 plus the turret.
2 turrets, actually, as they put the Rift Herald down just at...
You are correct.
The entrance to bot lane, so 2 turrets, the big factor that makes it worth. Linderung somehow found no entrance to the fight, so it probably wouldn't have been the most relevant with charge on cooldown. SKT have so much map control this game that an Ocean Drake, while not the biggest bounty, is still something else that's free to the side of SKT. Defensive itemization is starting to join the defensive itemization that was the rushes on the side of SKT.
It's an investment. It's another stack in case the game somehow gets delayed by ROX again.
Seeming unlikely.
Yes, it does. SKT are absolutely terrifying right now.
And then we get to see the opposite of Blitzcrank with map control. It's Blitzcrank with no map control, which usually means that they know where he's coming and makes it very unlikely that the hooks will register.
I said absolutely terrifying. Something that I forgot that I did. I was watching you and Atlas cast yesterday, and on my second monitor, And then on my first monitor, I was going back. I've been trying to go through my Steam games. I started replaying through the Left 4 Dead series. I got to the second one, and I forgot that years ago I installed a mod that replaces your flashlight with Nicolas Cage's face. So I was running into a dark room, and I turned on my flashlight, and just Nicolas Cage popped up, and I actually physically jumped out of my chair for a moment.
It's one of my greatest phobias.
You know, it's just terrifying. This is way scarier than the zombies.
Well, that sort of dread is not being put out by ROX, even though some of the trades are going pretty decently for them.
Yeah, Mickey still has quite a bit of damage here. Fires off the culling. Can't quite find that kill in on the bang, though.
There's not much aplomb about SKT right now because the items aren't necessarily the explosive ones. Even when Faker rode in and started diving, he only had Azonias, which meant that wasn't able to delete Songyun instantly. Bang still short of one completed item himself. So while they're in a great spot, the gold lead is there, the map pressures there, the tempo is all about SKT. We haven't seen the fireworks that we saw in Series 1.
We're looking to add a little bit more onto that lead as Antara's just going to flash in, look for Mickey. Don't quite find it, and the charge comes through from Linderong. That bear trap on a rope to try to pull him back in, but loses Skull right off the bat, and the hook yet again going to miss from Key. Accuracy not on his side at the moment, and SKT, we'll see how long they want to stick around and try to finish this one off. Songyun's rotating down and will have that line wave clear to offer up.
Bit damning that he actually chose to hook the Renekton and missed.
Corruption coming through, and Tara going to get locked down. Wild Growth comes in, trying to keep him alive, even with the dominance, but the last turret shot will take him
Faker's
down.
all alone.
Bear claims the kill. Faker is alone on the side, flanking in, just firing away with the threaded volleys, trying to finish him off, flashes in to try to get the last hit. Now Linderong coming back into the fight on the backside with that teleport. Might be turning things around here for ROX. Their trap on a rope comes down, will pull Bang back in, but he loses Skull yet again. Seismic shove just shy of it, and Key, well, he was a mile away.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere near on the hook, like you mentioned. The health bar's not there for ROX Tigers, so only a one-man chase mission coming in for Linderong. Not the cleanest from SKT, but they get the objective they're setting up for. Pain of Corruption started this all. Talia in the backline, still not with massive damage, so while she's zoning and forcing members of ROX to back off, they take down Mickey. From there, very difficult to get much more. The flash doesn't really register anything from Faker, so a misfire there. Linderong cleans up Blank. Nothing else really comes from this fight. Again, we're waiting for the explosion of action, but this has been pretty methodical stuff from SKT. Much more playing about where they're strong rather than when they're strong. That means that now Infinity Edge finally complete. Faker's still working on a second damage item.
Yeah, Leandri is getting ready to come through as the Haunting guys so far. And Mickey in the same boat. Going to be looking for that Black Cleaver very soon, as Blank takes away that blue buff.
Blitzcrank, really only a melee champion who can ward at this point. Took exception to your hook counter earlier in the game, but now we are getting to the point where you don't hit a hook on one of the four great targets from SKT when their flashes are mostly down. Why Blitzcrank? Blitzcrank and Thresh very different when it comes to the hooks especially. Thresh quite hard to hit the hook on compared to Blitzcrank, who has a much faster charge time, or cast time I should say, on the hook. See if Linderong can finally start bossing around the Renekton. The answer seems probably yes, and here's also the Lucian.
Charge will come through yet again. Bear Trap comes down, and Mickey arrives. As that play, the Rune King ready to go, and Tara trying to trade up the calling, just going to be tickling him from behind. Will be able to get him in the end. Looked like just for a second that Antara would be able to escape. If only he had the flash. Could have seen the great one happen, but Mickey comes up with the kill. Good stuff here for the side of ROX Tigers as they just try to close in on this gold deficit. Just under 4,000 at the moment.
Trying to take their first turret of the game as well in the bot lane. They've been nowhere near to claiming turrets because of all the pressure. The tempo of the SKT pushes, but Kled in the bot lane, that was hard to say for some reason. Getting a lot of work done, still going to take a bit of time, given it was at full HP before he started.
Has another wave coming in though, so should be able to take this out unless Faker really wants to ride the wall in to try to stop this, but seems like Linderong is going to let the minions do their work and kite back before it gets pinched in on.
SKT, if they want the Baron, still have to do a lot of work with the top side. A lot of their vision has been centered around the bot side, so for now, the game pace does slow. A lot of action happening early as SKT got so much standing gold off the map, being 5-0 in turrets, and still 5-0 as Worth noting that Lindaron couldn't actually complete the turret take in bot lane.
Yeah.
Just trading farm over to Untara. Still ultra comfort from SKT, but looking for that killer instinct of them actually pulling the trigger and growing this lead further. Faker's been kind of on solo missions when it comes to diving. The rest of his team's been a lot more conservative with their positioning.
Well, now he's got the damage ready to go at least with the Leandries being completed. Bang as well. Static shift plus that IE. So, crit out the wazoo for this guy. But still doesn't do much to Key. He's got that quest completed. So, overshield is there. Just to deny out.
Like, doing some PvE, taking down the Cloud Drake. Was their ability to take Elder Dragon in the face of Baron in the previous game that helped a lot.
Strong's going to show up. Would be one hell of a steal if he could get it, but actually Blank didn't have the smite, but still finds it. Execute damage on the Q.
Yeah, Lindaron probably wondered what was going on when the Drake started falling to 400 HP.
Is he taunting me?
The answer was yes, but
A little bit.
only found that out right at the end.
Kind of inadvertently.
This ROX is so petrified because Key doesn't have the latitude to make picks, so he's roaming around in the topside jungle. SKT don't really need to go into the topside jungle as a less than a 4-man unit, so let's push through mid lane and back away.
Oh, Key. He's smelling it. Blood in the water. Finds the hook. Drags him back in. Wild Growth not going to be enough. And Blank goes down.
Yeah, even with all the traps, got trapped, but hit the hook finally. So crucial. They get a single pick. Probably won't lead to much, though, Achilles, with the minion waves pushing in, specifically in the bot lane.
All right, if ROX wins, Key gets MVP.
Well, I think Faker decided he want to go in.
Oh, rides in on the wall, and Faker will be able to go golden, but seems like he's still going to go down. Flashes to the side, but just basically to his inevitable death. Key and
Everyone
Mickey
flashes.
both coming over the wall. Trying to hunt down on the Blank. Drops a couple traps to try to delay them. Ace in the hole out as well. Mickey will eat that one to the face. Another hook comes through, and suddenly Key's on fire. That was a bit easier.
Yeah, Key was just trying to get into Hook City. Finally got the keys to that particular area and got 3 hooks in rapid succession. Big picks for the ROX Tigers. They'll finally get to push down mid lane, but Bang is still alive. So getting that first turret. Remember, still none of the turrets are claimed by Tigers. If they answer the turrets, they'll actually probably be ahead in gold, Achilles.
Yeah, they certainly would be. I mean, haven't been able to pick up a single one yet. Mickey's got that top lane moving, and we'll go ahead and take another look at this Faker. Just really aggressive on the Weaver as well, trying to cut off Songyun, who does go down.
Predicted where he was going to jump off, or maybe even had time through the animation. And from there, after the Zhonya's died, double flash from Mickey and Key. They wanted more in this particular scenario, and it was only because Untara took the cocoon. They finally got the hook in. They get the picks they need, but nothing much more for ROX Tigers. So a bit of gold, some experience from taking down the SKT members. The gold lead still around 3,000.
They're buying time. In a game where SKT were up to such a massive lead from the start of the game.
I mean, SKT got a lot of the easy objectives very fast into this game and much ahead of schedule. And then their items weren't really in a point to take the harder objectives, so they were kind of stalled from making any more movements. The items are starting to get there now. They group with Renekton. They might be able to ward, but when Renekton's not grouped, getting the vision into the area they want is basically impossible, because unless Blitzcrank is showing in the mid lane, how are you ever pushing vision into the red side without getting picked, like we saw happen in a chain of occurrences in the previous clip?
Well, now 2.6 thousand gold. All that is separating them here, so SKT are getting stopped out. And what looked like it would be a rather swift game, too, could very well be going yet again to around 40 minutes. If ROX can maintain this, if Key can keep hitting these hooks on crucial members.
It really does feel like they need to group with the Renekton, but they're going to try the Weaver's Wall again.
Almost had it that time. They toss it out just a little bit off from hooking Faker in yet again.
As a 4-man group, it feels like Baron should be impossible. So Untara teleporting over or just recalling and running to his team to help them put down vision is probably the percentage way for them to actually take objectives in this topside area. But now the Control Wars just cannot be attacked because of the strength of Blitzcrank and Varus on the red side when you're trying to contest vision in that area. So the end result is that farm is being passed over to Mickey. He's actually 43 CS ahead of Faker, who's been doing his best solo playmaking experiments in the past couple of minutes. CS values in general pretty healthy, except for Linderung's 40 CS down of his opponent here on the Renekton.
Nope. Not this time, Key, but good try. Vision will just get cleared out. SKT try to gain some control over this Baron. Still very far away from being able to start this one up. They need some crucial picks. The likes of Mighty Baron, perhaps even Linderung going down before they can really think about that going over to them. In the meantime, they still do have a nice little contingency plan with the Dragon stacks. 3 over to them and another Infernal Drake on the way. So if they can net that for themselves in about a minute's time when it does spawn, Elder Dragon is going to be looking pretty juicy.
Catch build coming through from Faker with the Rylai's. Most mid laners who play the Taliyah have skipped over this item after the stat efficiency went down, but just trying to acquire targets. If you look at the team comp, there's not massive CC outside of the stun coming through from the Renekton and Lulu's slows, so Taliyah putting it on herself to do a lot of the utility. Renekton showing in bot lane, but still, Key and Mighty Bear being able to contest Vision means that Baron's still not started, even with Leandries and a 3-item Caitlyn. Interesting that the game has been stalled as long as it has, but SKT seems so reticent to draw Renekton to the top lane that all they can really do is park a control ward, clear Vision, but nothing much more, as Key might be caught finally.
He does have that flash ready to go, will pop it. And Blank not really in a position, there's too much CC over that wall for him to pursue in.
But important to see Blitzcrank chunked out, because now they can push Vision. They have a control ward pushed up pretty far. SKT, maybe this is finally the Baron time. They've been thwarted for so long.
Oh, looking for Mighty Bear. Cocoon comes in. Mighty Bear will flash away to keep himself alive. So 2 flashes now down on the side of ROX. And that's going to be the HarCC members outside of the Chain of Corruption.
And it's Baron time, Achilles.
All right, they're going to go ahead and start this one up. Scrying Orb gets knocked to the side. Bang on the wrong side of the pits. Got to be careful. The hook does not land. A little juke out there by Bang, and they might just want to turn in for a fight here. Key going to be the focus, and the TP now coming through for Tara.
Teleport's deep, but not that deep. Only Mickey on that side. I tell a lie, Linderung's there as well.
Tara, though, will be jumped on. Ace in the hole comes through. Mickey going to take that damage, and Tara gets a double slice and dice through.
Static Shift crit actually doing quite a lot of damage. Another recall coming through. Well, SKT just pulled back. They have vision of Mighty Bear and Key.
Oh, Mighty Bear goes low. 90 caliber net not quite hitting. If it had, that would have been the headshot.
But it is Mighty Bear. It is the Smite who is now going to die if he tries to contest.
Oh, that's the hook in onto Bang. So much damage out here from Mickey. The Wild Growth over the wall. And he actually trades one back, flashes into the pit, keeps himself alive. And now the Baron goes over to SK Telecom. Linderung comes in, and it's a double kill over to Songyun so far, dismantling the bottom lane of SKT. Faker going low, still pushing them back. Mickey comes forward. Faker jumps to the side, has the Zhonya's there. Can they stick around for the kill? The answer is going to be no. Mickey sees that he's ticking down from that Leandries, will back off. 2 members dead. And SK Telecom do claim the Baron.
A lot of action there. Bang being so far up. Baited the Blitzcrank to go in. He hit the hook though. Bang just about gets out, then gets taken out in the pit. But the Baron is claimed from SKT. Remember, they struggled to pick this up for a good 10 minutes. Finally got it. Speaking of finally getting it, the Keys hooks have lighted up the rift in the tail end of this particular game. Bang falls low, flashes in. No shields left though. He does die in the pit to Linderung as he comes in. Songyun runs out of mana. Needs to be able to weave in spells to get max damage, so doesn't get a lot. And in all that commotion, Infernal Drake is taken, so 4 Drake stacks to SKT as well.
Yeah, and now just going to be having that amplified AD AP. So they look pretty terrifying here. Even Faker, who doesn't have the most aggressive of items, is still going to be pretty formidable.
You do feel like KT, no doubt watching this game, will wonder what to make of SKT in this particular match, as Blank's going to get hooked.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Gets locked down. Cocoon comes straight away. Wild Growth's in. He flat jumps to the side, but will still be taken down as Songyun finds another kill. Faker chasing in with a threaded volley, just trying to chip him away. Has the side swing shove in onto Key, but has to hightail it away because of that culling. Ace in the hole connects onto the Blitzcrank, but still just working away at his HP bar, not finding any kills. And that's going to be another Baron buff lost by SK Telecom. Now just 2 remaining.
Wolf also now clearing waves. They don't have vision of the Blitzcrank.
Well, here he comes. Hook not going to connect Wolf. Using that whimsy, gets himself a little bit more movement speed and can cut into the side. Top. Inner turret does go down as Zentara gets that for himself and his squad. Linderong trying to outduel this Renekton, but it's actually losing this time around. Will lose Skarl, but Mickey is on the way. That's why he wants to commit in, and Zentara in a bad spot. Identifies this, just wants to try to trade up. Finds it! Swipes his way through with the final Q and does get the kill in the 1v2.
He swipes right on getting the kill there, does he? Picks it up and gets the 1v1, even though they drew an extra member. Trying to push minion wave in mid lane and finally break the base, but Mighty Bear's here.
That's one remaining Baron buff. It's only on Faker now. He over the wall. No minions to body block Faker. They have to kite back. Next wave very far away, so SKT not going to gain much ground on this.
Baron's buffs off the rift, with also the respawn timer needing to be respected. SKT are still thwarted. With picking up the Baron they invested so much hard work into, the majority of 10 to 15 minutes into, doesn't allow them to break the base. ROX Tigers holds true. Still going to be armor being very, very valuable against this team. Probably why Faker did rush the Zonias was only Mighty Bear is going to be doing magic damage on the side of ROX.
Just a look at Zentara's inventory. When we flash that one back up on the screen, 3.4 thousand gold. Ahead of Linderong.
And most of that put into armor items.
Randuin's has the Dead Man's Plate and another Chain Vest waiting in the inventory, so could just see a Thorn Mail.
Thorn Mail or a Gargoyle Stone Plate to be even more annoying in the back line. Not that he's going to die to Mighty Bear very quickly. New Guardian Angel icon onto the side of Blank. Wants to be a frontliner to join the Renekton. But again, I don't know what KT makes of this particular series, because SKT relatively to Samsung yesterday and KT today have toiled trying to beat the ROX Tigers, who may be the strongest of the bottom four teams, but...
Yeah, I mean, KT did struggle against Ever8 in Game 1.
True.
I'd say the takeaway, they're probably pretty even, at least against lower opposition. When it comes down to each other, who knows? Weaver's Wall thrown out, Songyun forced the flash over, Ace in the Hole will come through, just chunks him down a bit more. Doesn't get the heal out of him or anything, so still has at least the one summoner spell. Tara hunting in for Linderong, just swipes him, interrupts his back.
Recall comes through. Next Weaver's Wall, if it does cut off Songyun, will be massively effective, but SKT just continue the full court press they've been engineering for the majority of this game. When you have your waves push up this much, basically every bush that Blitzcrank would dive into will be warded, or there'll be so few to actually problem solve around.
Look out, Faker has the Zonias, keeps himself safe. Yet again, cooldown burned. Dang, now sieging up here, chunks out Songyun yet again. Chain of Corruption comes through, he will cleanse that one off with the QSS. Still playing with fire as he goes forward, the flash to the side, and Key, ooh, just a frame away from hitting that hook.
Tara turned onto him bot lane.
Pixels away rather, and Tara, yeah, does get jumped on, goes dangerously low, the culling comes out, Wild Growth thrown down, and he still will fall over the wall. Mickey finds the kill. Nicely done, bang, chunking out Mighty Bear, does get hit by the cocoon, but otherwise won't find anything in Key. Just hooking in a minion.
To fight so hard, just get 2, 3 shots from Bang onto this turret. They don't want to play the top lane, and the bot lane is fighting a losing war over time with Linderong. So SKT continue to be thwarted. So many camps, access to so much gold. And inevitably this gold ticker will start to tick up for the side of SKT. But still no closer to breaking the base, and once the base is broken, the game should be pretty academic from there. But there still has been surprising spots for Key to cause pressure with the Blitzcrank. It's been one of those games where Blitzcrank, sure, didn't start well, but hit some hooks, and now just the inherent pressure of the next hook is slowing down the advance of SKT.
But now it's also one of those games where in 40 seconds time, we have Elder Dragon for 4 stacks for SK Telecom spawning alongside Baron, which just makes for some great pressure situations around the map as far as what each team wants to prioritize. Because, I mean, given this context, you'd have to think that ROX trading the Elder Dragon for Baron doesn't feel good.
And even getting a trade should be impossible, because with how much and how pushed the lanes have been, there hasn't been enough time for ROX to get balanced vision on both sides of the map. So SKT aren't interested in trading. They want to get a free objective, then pick up the second one, and finally break the base. Speaking of second objectives, Tigers do get their second turret of the game to continue the gold lead being around that 4,000 mark. It's actually only 3.5.
Yippee. Weaver's Wall comes through. Separates the team a bit. See how much follow-up there's going to be. Blank leaping forward, looking for Mighty Bear. Just absolutely destroys him with the help of Bang. The charge used by Linderong as well to hightail it out of there. And the rest of SKT going hunting for the members of ROX Tigers. Won't be able to find them, but do they just go ahead and start the Baron right now? They have 40+ seconds on Mighty Bear.
Yeah, the first instinct was to turn to look for more picks, but with how long the death timers are, this might be the right idea. Killers, they have one advanced ward around the Raptors. Once again, Bang, starting things up. They don't have any vision. ROX give up the Baron, trying to make a play for the Elder Dragon, but like you mentioned, it's a very low-value Elder Dragon.
If they can even get it, they're going to start this one up. Do not have a smite.
There's a ward in there from SKT.
Coming up here in 15 seconds, and SKT are pinching in. ROX see them in the mid lane, and they are going to go ahead and try to peel back. Do they want to try to cut them off is the question. Faker does not have a Weaver's Wall. Ward comes over. They spot out Mickey. They see the rest of the team leaving. And the Elder Dragon has started up, and this is the most feel-bad moment here for ROX Tigers. Cannot contest either objective. Will lose out both. 4-stack Elder Dragon plus Baron to SK Telecom. As we near 40 minutes, and you have to expect that the game should go down from here unless ROX can put on one hell of a show.
Yeah, 24% bonus AD on a 5-item, soon-to-be 6-item Caitlyn. 4 stacks as well for the burn. Bang just wants to walk up and finally break down this inhibitor turret that's lasted 40 minutes, but it's not going to last probably more than 40 seconds from now.
Maybe
it's almost 4 seconds, yeah.
There you go. Just keep cutting down. Goes
that was our 2 autos from the Caitlyn.
How the times have changed. I remember when he did no damage, says Mickey, as he runs back to the fountain, desperately trying to stay alive. Doesn't force out the heal at least. But still, SKT going to look to go ahead and close this one out. They have so much pressure. Do they want to stick around? Seems like the idea is just going to be going for the sweep on all 3 inhibs, perhaps. Faker is rotating his way up there. The rest of the squad posturing forward, keeping these minions empowered.
You don't have any minions to tank though, so Bang can't really get any auto attacks on the Nexus turrets. Finally, a minion wave starts to crash.
Top lane as well, and Songyun, oh dear lord. Does take quite a bit of damage. You hear that charge coming through as Linderong comes in from the backside. He did pop the TP. Onjar is going to be the recipient of that cocoon and the chain of corruption, but Blank is already deleted key. Calling being fired off here by Mickey, desperately trying to find a kill. Will not be able to do so as Faker takes out Songyun. Linderong way too far forward. Will go down in the end, and that's going to be the game going over to SK Telecom. Very delayed, very much. A tough one for these guys to close it out, but they do it methodically. They don't overstep their boundaries. They come up with the win, and that's another 2-0 for SKT.
And while we wonder how it took quite so long, it was respect from SKT that caused the game to extend, because the moment Blitzcrank fell behind, the double AD sieging team fell behind, there wasn't really win conditions for ROX Tigers to get the game back into their grasp. Now, they weren't necessarily going to give it over either. SKT did have to toil. It was long. They didn't necessarily have explosive moments, but finally, Blank is 17-0, 1 game short of the 18-0 regular season LCS previous year number of game wins in a row. So getting to pretty insane numbers. May make 20 before the end of this season, that's for sure. May make 19 before the end of the first round robin. But guess what? They have to play SKT against KT next time, which will be interesting to track. ROX Tigers continue to earn their moniker of the best team with just a single match win, but it's not necessarily a crown you're looking for. It's a crown of thorns for the ROX Tigers, who still have not been able to pick up that second match win.
Yeah, has been eluding them, but you know, you wouldn't have put your money on ROX Tigers beating SK Telecom. You would have gotten one hell of a payout if you had actually won that bet. But still, struggle street for these guys. They do rest around that 7th place spot, will not be moving further down from here. But it's still rough tidings for these guys.
Mickey looked rusty, going lane focused rather than his recent games of just being mostly an Orianna bot. Has been building for his team, setting up for his team, but game 1 was kind of symbolic of what the ROX Tigers have been running. Weren't able to make it work with the late game Cogmore comp. Went more lane focused in game 2, but like I said, didn't necessarily look like it was the most practiced strategy. No elation on the side of SKT. It is business as usual for them. Whew. Bang was doing no damage for a long time, but...
And then he did all the damage for the rest of the time.
He was definitely the one anointed to do so. Faker went for a pretty low damage build, and Kha'Zix wasn't going to be getting resets in these particular fights.
He's going all in on this anointed Crown of Thorns.
It's true.
Yeah.
I only said Crown of Thorns once
Baptism
today.
by fire for ROX.
That's true.
Maybe now they can get a win.
Maybe. I mean, they do have those 2 games that are very winnable, right? The run-in for the ROX Tigers is that they face, in 2 days' time, MVP, and then they do face in the final game of the first round robin, KT Rolster. So both of those winnable for the side, well, at least the first one winnable for the side of ROX. MVP will be Bang. Shoulder the damage like we mentioned. Slow start from him. QSS after a pickaxe was something that turned the head, but after that, able to finally get him to his item timings. The team fight happened, and ROX Tigers delayed, but nothing really else they could do.
Yeah. So Bang and Faker MVPs here for SK Telecom today. Very beautifully done by him. And like you said, it was methodical by SKT, but they approached this game with a lot of respect, and that was reflected in Bang's item purchases, going for that QSS alongside the pickaxe very early on, delaying his own damage, but still coming out very much on top.
Yeah,
so.
A QSS, when they had so much pressure in the rest of the map after the early turret takes, that taking down Bang was one of the few ways that ROX Tigers could get back into the game. So he stopped that from being a win condition. SKT took all the easy objectives and then, yes, did struggle for 20 minutes or so to get the more difficult ones, but the first Baron heralded the start of the end of the game for the ROX Tigers. Nice hooks from Key to at least get over after missing so many at the start of the game.
It kind of leveled out, you would say. Started off really rough for him, but by that mid-game, he was really the driving force behind ROX getting back onto the horse and maybe even having a chance of closing out the game with those crucial picks that he was finding, but in the end, couldn't find them. And Bang just hit a critical mass.
I mean, it was 5-item double Infernal with Elder Dragon buff, 4-stack Caitlyn. So we know already that is insane amounts of damage. Down a couple of members that dived onto the Caitlyn while Kha'Zix and Renekton dealt with the worst. SK Telecom T1 go into the Telecom War 7-1, want to make an 8-1 first round robin and anoint themselves top of the table after their loss. They lost a long time ago against Samsung on the second